I don't have 20 kids, but it feels like I do. Motherhood for me is often an experience in the not enoughs. Not enough time, not enough energy, not enough money, not enough, well, according to this text message about an hour ago, not enough toilet paper currently at our house. So not enough, not enough, not enough. And I can't even count the number of times that I've sat through a Mother's Day sermon that was like based on Proverbs 31 woman. So kind of like Olivia, when I got ready to prepare, it was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to do anything except Proverbs 31. Because it's this proverbial measuring stick of this perfect wife and mother who just gets everything right. And if you're anything like me, you can spend 30 minutes on Pinterest, pin 100 things, and then order pizza because you're too tired from pinning recipes on Pinterest to want to actually cook anything you just pinned. So Proverbs 31 for me, again, is like this measuring stick that she loses me at the rising early. When she willingly gets up early, I'm out. I'm done.
She loses me at sewing her own garments. Not happening.
No, thank you. So as I started to process through, well, who do I identify with? If it's not the Proverbs 31 woman, who could I see myself in, or who really speaks to me as a character? And the most unlikely source, in my opinion, was Bathsheba. But I kept coming back to her, and I couldn't get away from her story. Those of you that know her story, it's messy. She is Facebook status complicated. I'm glad that the Bible doesn't shy away from messy, though, because life is messy.
Amen.
Life is painful sometimes. It's sticky. In her situation, she was doing all the right things at all the right times, in all the right ways, in all the right places, and all the wrong stuff happened. Bathsheba was bathing in a ritual cleansing that was part of what was expected. You talked about the uncleanliness. It was part of what was expected. She's in the privacy of her own home, her courtyard, wherever this was done, and somebody sees her from a roof, a king, who has the power to say, bring her to me because I like what I see. We don't have any indication that Bathsheba had any part in this. None. She's brought before the king, and she ends up pregnant. Her husband's away at war. He's also a righteous man. And like so many little sins, big sins follow as we try to fix the first little uh-oh. And King David finds out Bathsheba's pregnant. What am I going to do? Her husband's not here. We got to cover this up. So he calls for the husband to come back from the battle, hoping that he can persuade him to go in and visit his wife, and now we can explain this pregnancy. But that doesn't happen because it wasn't customary. It would be a very huge dishonor, a grievous action for this husband. And he knows if there's a battle going on, you don't go home and have a home-cooked meal. You need to stay before the court. You need to be ready at any moment because you're here to sacrifice. So he doesn't go to see his wife. So now all of a sudden, you're pregnant. I can't get your husband to visit you, and I've got a situation on my hands. So he sends her husband to the front line of this war. Of course, he's killed. Then he marries Bathsheba. So now at least we have an explanation. Her husband is no more. She's married. There's a baby. Everything's good now. Except humanity's been the same for centuries, since the dawn of time. We've got social media now to document it forever, but when things like that happen, we tend to pick at each other, and I'm sure that the criticisms that came her way were monumental. Oh, sure, you're a queen now. That's interesting, isn't it? Know where that baby came from. You know what I mean? But yet, her story didn't end there. She didn't have to live a life of ridicule, and my story didn't end there either. She raises one of the most incredible men of the Bible, Solomon, who, when he becomes king, he's allowed to choose anything. He could ask God for anything: money, riches, wealth, power, fame, whatever you want. And Solomon says, I want wisdom. And God honors that. He gives him wisdom above anybody else that we have recorded. And Solomon collects in the book of Proverbs wisdom from all over the world. And he chooses to put in this book of wisdom Proverbs 31. So here I am running. There she is. Proverbs 31 is put into Proverbs not because it's about one woman that we're all supposed to be measured against, But Proverbs 31 is put in as a celebration of everything that Solomon saw in his mother. When life told her all of the ways that she was powerless, when life told her all of the ways that she didn't have autonomy or authority, even down to her over her own body, her son saw in her power, authority, freedom, recovery, restoration, possibility.
Amen.